In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Trailer. From looking at my trailer, I've used, developed and challenged many conventions. I felt that it was important to include the tolerance narrative theory of equilibrium within my trailer. This is where it starts off normal, and due to an action of the main character they had created or done in the past, it has now led to them facing the consequences. This is called the equilibrium, where the beginning stage. In my case, where the main character is sitting down to have tea and realises his best mate has just been murdered, this is classed as an equilibrium, as he has only found out about their death. The fact that I've used an equilibrium right at the beginning of the stage is showing that I've challenged the convention of the beginning of the trailer, as in Scream 4, the trailer immediately jumps in the disruption stage, as well as in Nightmare on Elm Street. Next, he finds out someone is after him. This is then the disruption stage. The main character has now realised that he's been hunted down by an unknown killer who has sent him the letter. Stage. This is the disruption. Therefore, I am following the convention of having the disruption at the beginning of the trailer. For example, in Nightmare on Elm Street, where the teenage girl has found that she has been haunted in her dreams, and in Scream 4 too. I've decided to challenge the convention of having the past occurrence, which have led to up to the current disequilibrium at the beginning of the trailer, and put mine during the middle, as this gives more of an insight to the backstory. This had only been followed by one film I had analysed, and this was Scream 4, where the story about how the killers have actually changed the rules, and this is shown in the middle, signifying what the disruption is about. Whereas in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's a flashback of the past, beginning of the trailer, and in Nightmare on Elm Street, it's at the beginning too. Therefore, I have challenged this convention. Nearing the end of my trailer, I have showed many clips regarding the solution, as most of the shots are consisting of the disruption stage. Therefore, I have followed the convention, as throughout Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream 4, the end bits only show the high tension scenes such as the disruption stages, and in Nightmare on Elm Street there are scenes of the antagonist terrorizing the characters. I've done this as it also doesn't give away a lot of the film. Another theorist that is associated with my trailer is Rick Altman and his semantic and syntactic theories. This involves iconography within the trailer. For the slasher, it is conventional to show the weapon by the mask and the character within the film being chased. I followed these conventions by showing the white mask as this is stereotypical for my subgenre of slasher, as this hides the identity of the killer and therefore creates an enigma in the audience's mind. I've shown this in my trailer by showing the killer taking the mask and his weapon. Examples of this are shown in Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream 4, where we can see the woman taking off the infamous ghost mask, which creates an enigma as the woman is not supposed to be an antagonist. Another part of iconography that I've been showing in my trailer is the low-angle shot of the door being knocked, as this can connote to the audience of the idea that the characters are either trapped within or unwanted objects can enter within. These shots have been shown in the films such as Nightmare on Elm Street, where they are trapped within the factory, or in Scream 4, where they're trapped in the basement area. The fact that it connotes the characters being trapped allows the audience to wonder how will they ever escape. As to the representation of the characters within the film, it is stereotypical to have stock characters within the slasher movies, such as the final girl, the male jockey, and the dumb blonde. Within my film, I have decided to challenge this by having many countertypes. My first countertype is by changing the final girl to being a final male, as this was more suited to my narrative. However, there is a girl in there, and she is the one that is hunted down first, so I've put her as a countertype, as she is the first to die, as she has black hair, and stereotypically she has to be white and blonde. However, she is Asian and black hair, therefore conforming to the countertype. This has not been followed by any films that I have analysed, therefore meaning I've definitely challenged a convention here. The representation of the killer has not been seen as much, as this gives an effect as he is a promiscuous character and doesn't like to be seen a lot. I've done this by him wearing a white mask, as this covers up his face, which leaves an enigma in the audience's mind as who could the killer be. This is a convention that I've followed, as this is shown in Scream 4, where the antagonist's face has not been shown at all, and it is constantly covered by the mask. And within Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger's face had been badly burnt, but we never actually get to see his face, hence creating more of a mystery. Regarding the editing, I decided that it was essential for me to have a montage sequence, as this was the most important convention, as it represents the height of the tension and the panic in the story. In many films of a horror genre, in specific slasher, this sequence is mainly consisting of how the characters within the film are about to get killed, showing the weapons use and the very high tension shots. I decided to develop this idea, as I have shown shots showing where the character is in distress. However, the other shots showing them rushing are more to the backstory, which gives them more of an insight to the film. Another piece of editing that I've done to add emphasis to the trailer was by increasing the volume when the weapon is pulled out. I did this as it would be louder, therefore add more of a sense of realism to the audience. I've therefore followed this convention where the weapon has been highlighted from the other sounds in the scene, for example in Nightmare on Elm Street and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. With the reference to my sound in my trailer, I've used the sound effects such as crash metal bang, where the character receives a letter from the antagonist. This therefore adds more tension to the scene for the audience who may not understand that this is a threat. The sound effects will add to it and connote something bad has happened. These types of sound effects are rarely used in my subgenre of horror. Another piece of sound that was conventional for my genre was the soundtrack. The soundtrack had a chill throughout it with a weird twisted nursery rhyme tone, which sounds very awkward, which is set for my subgenre of horror. Another convention that I'd followed is by having the soundtrack picking up pace and becoming more fierce as the trailer edges toward the end/montage scene. This is done to create a sense of tension for the audience. This has been followed by many slasher films such as Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream 4 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. With the convention of the caption, I followed this as I believe it would add more to the backstory of the film and give the audience more of an insight to the film. I've done this by adding the when the past comes back for revenge. This has also been followed by every film that I've analysed, such as Scream 4, Nightmare on Elm Street and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. For the institutions, I have decided to follow the convention of having the green screen at the beginning with the producer's logo following, as this has been done by many films I've analysed, such as Scream 4 and Nightmare on Elm Street, where they both have the institution and the green screens right at the beginning of the trailer. At the end of the trailer, having the building block details and the date adds a sense of professionalism to the trailer. Furthermore, it means I have followed the conventions of the films such as Scream 4, Nightmare on Elm Street and Smiley and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as they all have the building blocks and dates at the end of the trailer. Poster. The first part of the analysis is about the genre conventions of the image. For my subgenre of horror, slasher, I found that it was conventional for the killer to have his identity hidden away with a mask. As regards to the mask, it was more conventional for it to be a clear, crisp white mask that had been covered in blood and torn up after the first killings. This is a semantic object theorized by Rick Altman, because when the people see the famous white ghost mask in Scream 4, they'll remember the slasher genre. So for this convention on my poster, I've decided to follow this. By having the antagonist having a crumpled, broken and bloodied mask to hide his identity also signifies that this mask has already been used, which connotes further to the enigma. Another convention that is highly used by the slasher genres is the usage of the weapons in the poster. Examples of this are in Nightmare on Elm Street, where we can see Freddy Krueger's long, sharp nails, and in Texas Chainsaw Massacre we can also see the famous chainsaw. In my poster, this has been shown, but not in a very stereotypical fashion, as you can see a sharp shadow on the eye of the mask, and this is then looking down on the characters. This therefore means I have developed the convention as I have shown the weapon, but not completely. The location in the background of the image is seen to be the blurry outback of a field in the middle of nowhere, which is stereotypical for this genre, as the characters are being stalked and hunted by the killer in a remote area, which is far from civilization, to connote the fact that they are vulnerable. However, this is not a convention for the poster in slasher films, as the ones I have analysed, there is no shot of location. Examples of this are in Scream 4, Nightmare on Elm Street and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Another convention as regarding to the genre of the image is that the conventional usage of low-key lighting and dark colours to give the essence of a dark feeling and that something bad is occurring. Examples of this are in Smiley, Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream 4, where we can see the antagonist looking down in a faded pose above the characters. I have therefore followed this convention, as in my poster I have the characters at the bottom in full colour, but the antagonist is faded out with the low-key lighting to make it feel as if he was watching over them / stalking them. Regarding the institutional aspect of the poster, I have decided to follow this by having the building block in Steel Tongue's font with a pyramid shape going downwards. I followed the convention of having the building block in a pyramid position, as it was highly used by Scream 4, Nightmare on Elm Street and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This therefore adds a sense of professionalism. Also, I had followed the convention of having my distributor and the producer's logo at the bottom of my poster. The size of my font that I used was very small, as having the building block adds to the authenticity and professionalism. Therefore, having it to stand out would be irrelevant, but having it small yet still recognizable is better. One part of the unique conventions of a poster that is highly sought upon is a tagline. This is due to the tagline creating enigmas, yet giving more of an insight to the film without giving too much away on the poster. As to the language used by Scream 4 and Nightmare on Elm Street, it is more language that would leave an enigma in the audience's mind. However, I decided to challenge this idea as I wrote mine lead on the title when the past comes back for the title The Revenge. Here I've developed the convention as my tagline is referring more to the title. The typography is a very important aspect of my cross-media package as it allows the audience to relate more to the type of film. For the type of font, I use a sans serif font that was bold and in all capitals. This is conventional of a slasher film as this emphasizes the title furthermore. Examples of this are within Scream 4 and Nightmare on Elm Street. Another convention that is also used by slasher films is to incorporate something relating to the film to the title, such as the weapon, blood, or sharp objects. Examples of this are in Scream 4 and Nightmare on Elm Street, where the V in Scream 4 has been elongated in the middle section, and in Nightmare on Elm Street there are blood patches throughout the title. I have followed this convention by having the knife under the V in Revenge, as this could create an enigma in the audience's mind, thinking that the knife could be a part of the weapon. With the cinematography of my image, I have decided to follow the convention by having the cast upon the poster at the bottom section, and then underneath of them the antagonist. Examples of this are in Scream 4 and Smiley, where we see the antagonist looking down on the characters. With reference to Todorov's equilibrium theory, the image on the poster could be staged as a disruption due to the blood being rubbed off the mask, connoting he may have already killed someone. The representation of my killer is stereotypical, as you can see him in a normal position looking downwards to hide his face to intrigue the audience to find out who it could be. This is conventional for my slasher genre, therefore I have followed this convention. This has been done by many slasher films such as Smiley, Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream 4, where the antagonist is beckoning down on the characters within the film. Website. Halloween 2 website, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D and Nightmare on Elm Street, they have decided to change their images on their poster and website. This is therefore a convention. For my website, I have followed this convention as I believe it will give another insight to the movie for the audience as there is a different photo. Regarding to the cinematography of the image, it is of the antagonist in a medium close-up shot, and he is in the stabbing motion. I use this type of shot as it allows the audience to emotionally connect with the character and the idea that he is not completely showing his face, which we cannot see, thus creating an enigma for the audience. From the films that I've analysed, this has been a convention for them to be in a medium close-up shot and pose with their weapons. Therefore, I've followed this convention of having the antagonist in the medium close-up position. An example of this is in Nightmare on Elm Street, where there is a constant change of images. With the outbreak of the social networking sites, it has now been a convention to include links to social networking sites on the website. Examples of this are on Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween 2. Therefore, I followed this convention to make the promotion of the film easier as well as professionalism. The convention of the building block has been followed through my website, as it's still the same colour, which is in keeping with the house style, and is positioned at the bottom of the website page, with the social network links on the upper right hand side of the building block, and then the institutional logos in the same correlation to the building block that was on the poster. Another convention is the navigation bar, where the audience can further explore the website and find out more about the film. This is shown throughout all the websites I have analysed. Examples are such as Scream 4, Halloween 2 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I have therefore followed this convention. I have positioned mine at the top right of the web page, away from the image to reduce clashing. The font for my title and tagline have been kept the same, as this adds a sense of professionalism and is showing a consistent house style. The positioning, however, is at the top web page, where I've decided to develop this convention, as most of the films I have analysed, such as Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween 2, have had it on the side vertically.